Hey, everybody, welcome to another all-star episode of Phil and the Mic. I am Darren Michael, as always, and with me, the man who has finally come out of hiding. You can see he's at a sports bar. 2 weeks after the Super Bowl loss, he's finally coming out of his shell. Money Mark, favorite man of the show. Money Mark, what's going on, my friend?
Oh, what's going on, Darren? Everything's good outside of the Eagles' loss. Things are good, man. That was a tough one.
Well, just listen, tell me the truth. We're not really going to get into Super Bowl because it's already done, it's passed, it's fine. Was it a hold at the end of the game, in your opinion?
So I got a long answer, but I'll make it short. I would never have thrown the flag in that situation, but Bradbury can't have a black glove against a white jersey, pulling on said jersey, wide open to be seen. Like, it's just, you're putting in the refs in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
You know, if they called it, the Chiefs fans would have gone nuts. Or I'm sorry, the Eagles fans would have gone nuts, and they did call it.
Yeah.
If they didn't call it, the Chiefs fans go crazy. Plus, Bradbury had help over the top. It was just completely unnecessary.
Yep.
So I'm kind of like saying, like, you don't call that in that spot, but Bradbury really made it hard for them to. I mean, they had to kind of call it, even though I don't think they should have. That's kind of my position.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, you can't blame them for making the call, because when you look back at the, NFL film showed us 800 million different ways to look at it, and even the defensive player said, "Listen, I held him. I mean, I did it."
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're saying, I mean, it's really tough to end the game.
Yeah.
Like that, like it was such a. I don't want to say it was a great game, because, I mean, the score-wise, it was a great game, but, I kind of felt bad for the Eagles, playing on such an awful turf when, your main focus on your defense is getting in the backfield and harassing the quarterback. And you couldn't do that all day because you couldn't get that quick step off of the ground.
Yeah, the other thing too is I saw a stat. Patrick Mahomes, on average, released the ball in 2.46 seconds from the time he snapped it, which is the fastest he's released the ball all year. And that's what you do against great pass rushing defenses. You give them zero time, you slick up the turf, and of course, everyone thinks the conspiracy is the Chiefs knew about the turf, the Eagles didn't until blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah, that's not why the Eagles lost. The Eagles lost because the defensive coordinator got outcoached by Andy Reid in the second half, period, end of story. The punt wasn't even an issue, because if you look at the replay, there were 8 Eagles surrounding Kadarius Toney when he had the ball and he was cutting. He wasn't even moving. There were 8 Eagles that didn't make a tackle. So it wasn't even the line drive punt. The coverage was poor. That was kind of a turning point in the game, and, it was kind of over from there. So, yeah, I mean, the Eagles lost. That call was controversial, but they lost the game because the defensive coordinator could not make changes, and now he's head coach of the Colts, and they get to wallow under his head coaching poorness, or whatever you want to say.
Well, what? At the end of the day, it was a good game.
It was a good game.
And the Eagles are set up for the future really well. But I wanted to jump into an interesting topic here, and that is all-star games. And Phil and I, we've kind of touched on this before, but let's talk. I want to talk about the four major sports, and I want to get some opinions on this, and then maybe together we can kind of rank the order as best all-star game to worst all-star game. Okay, let's start with hockey, and hockey is a really weird one, right? So with hockey, I mean, and granted, all of them, they all have skills competitions, and hockey has had skills competitions forever. It's like fastest, hardest shot, accuracy, saves, like all this stuff. They've been doing that forever, right? Forever. And so that's part of it. But they keep trying to invent themselves. Sometimes it's just like East and West, and then it's North American versus the world. And now they have 4 teams and 2 rounds. So, you got 2 teams that play, and the other 2 teams play each other, and the winner of those 2 games plays in the finals.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? That seems kind of silly. I mean, you got 3 games now plus the skills competition.
Yeah. I don't like the 4-team format at all. Like, I think, East versus West or US versus World. And I don't know, the US does very good. I mean, it almost should be Canada versus the world, right?
I want to say,
When you're talking about hockey.
I know, I want to say it's North America
North America. Okay, yeah. So
versus the
okay,
rest of the
I
world.
got
I
that.
think
Yeah.
that's what it is.
But I mean, yeah, so I don't like the 14 format. It doesn't make any sense. It's an all-star game. Like you want to have a single event, a single all-star game. It's not the, championship college series, right? You don't need four teams competing. Just keep it to, the way you had it. Because I thought they had a really good thing going with, kind of the East versus West, or, if you want to do North America versus World, that's fine. But, having some of the skills competitions are good. And, it's pretty exciting. To me, hockey is the best sport to watch live. Hands down. I mean, it is an incredible experience live. And, even on TV, it's good. And, I think, I do like the all-star game more traditional, not with the 14 format. I think that's getting a little bit too creative.
I agree. And then let's move on to baseball. Baseball, baseball is the most exciting in my mind because the home run hitting competition people really enjoy. I mean, that's fun watching these big guys get up there and hit the ball out of the park. But they also they haven't really changed the game too much. I mean, it's a 9-inning game. Guys go out there. I mean, pitchers are trying their best. The hitters are trying their best. It's not like hockey where you're not hitting anybody in the All-Star game. You're not really, the final score could be 10-8. I mean, whoever scores 18 goals in a hockey game, So, the only thing is that they've always been playing around with, okay, what does the winner of the All-Star game get?
Right.
And it used to just be pride, but that was when the AL and the NL didn't play each other, and now these guys are playing each other all the time. It was so exciting to see, to see like Mickey Mantle playing against Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. Like you never saw that. So the All-Star game was really interesting, but I feel like it's lost a lot of its luster. I feel like it's still a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a baseball player, you're playing in the All-Star game. I mean, to me, it's like it's not really a big deal. And what are you playing for? I mean, a lot of guys that I'm seeing are like, hey, I could just take the 4 days off and just go spend it with my family instead.
Yeah. I mean, so I think baseball is America's pastime, right? I mean, it's an American sport through and through. Obviously we've got amazing players coming out of Central America, Caribbean, things like that, that have kind of taken over the sport. But I really feel like baseball needs to stay true to its traditions, and it can't do some of the gimmicky things. Otherwise, it's going to lose its core fan base, right? That core fan base that goes to, 80 games a year, that gets the hot dog and gets the beer and sits in the stands and enjoys the atmosphere. And, it's a whole event. It's a whole thing. I just love that about baseball. I don't think you change. I think you keep it a 9-inning game. I think you have the best American League players against the best National League players. I do like having it mean something like home field advantage in the World Series or whatever. I think having something like that on the line does add a little bit of extra to it. And for me, the home run derby is hands down the best skills competition of any of the sports.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just exciting. It's fun to watch. There's guys that come out of the woodwork that you don't think are going to do well, and all of a sudden, they get into a rhythm, and any of these power hitters can really catch fire. And I've had the most interest in that skills competition of any of the four sports.
Yeah.
So I like baseball, exactly what it's doing.
Yep.
Maybe put a little bit more on the line for the game itself, but I love seeing the best pitchers pitch 1 inning and go after the best hitters, just kind of rotating them in and out. And, the challenge with that, though, is sometimes you'll get a really, really low scoring game because an amazing pitcher with 1 inning taking on the best hitters, I think that favors the pitcher. Once you get a little fatigued and they start losing control, then you get the hitters in there. But, so maybe a 2 or 3 inning minimum or something like that. I don't know. You have to play with it, but I really do like the tradition of 1 game, 9 innings, hot dog, beer, peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and enjoy it.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I feel the same way. Football is a big difference. They completely change it. And I can't blame them for trying something new. They've got the skills competition, which I think is kind of gimmicky, but flag football. Was it a success or was it a failure this year? What do you think?
I mean, I watched some of it. Like NFL is my big sport. The skills competition were just like not good. I mean, having like jumping off a tramp, having Stephon Diggs jump off a trampoline to catch a ball in a certain way over mats, and him not really doing it right, messing up, not knowing what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like these guys aren't like state. They're not. They almost like it was like a theatrical thing, and they had no idea what the script was, right? And they were just doing stupid. It was just terrible. They have to completely reimagine that. And because I do think, like, I love back in the day, and I think Phil talked about this last time, that Saturday morning like quarterback competition where they're throwing to the tire that's like 50 yards out, stuff like that, kickers kicking 70-yard field goals, like that's really cool. But the catch a ball jumping off of, no, that's just ridiculous. And the flag football, it's going to take a couple iterations to catch on. I think some of the players didn't know the rules. Even at the end, like Peyton Manning's running on the field, like you can't run the ball, and they took a knee to end the game. He's like, "That's a run, that's right." And he got like way too uptight about it. Out. It's like, dude, you got $1 billion. Like, go back to your commercials and sit down. Game's over. Like, it was stupid. So yeah, I was really let down as an NFL fan with that whole thing. I think if they do flag, like if they kind of the players start getting into the rhythm and figuring out what it's all about, I mean, I think that's okay, but I just think the skills competition is where to go. You can't do a game. The NFL is just too physical of a sport. You don't want your star players like tearing an ACL in Hawaii back when I was in Hawaii. It's just, they have to just do skills competitions or something else. Like, I mean, you can do flag football, but it's still a work in progress. I was unimpressed.
I agree. And then my the one that I laugh about all the time, basketball, right? So the 3-point competition is 3-point competition. They've had that for 40 years. And the slam dunk competition, I think that started way back in the ABA. God only knows how long ago it was. And I'm going to talk about that a little more. But, the thing that I think is really interesting. First, you've got Giannis and you've got LeBron as the team captains, right? So now they're just it's just a pickup game, which I think is interesting. But the game is first to 182 points. Okay. You got Jason Tatum, who scored 55 points in the All-Star game. To me, it seems kind of silly. Like I don't know if you saw this. There was a picture and it showed two guys playing like one-on-one, and everybody else was on the other side of the court. Just like it's like so stupid. I mean,
it was absurd. I mean, there was a viral video out there where somebody put the All-Star game from, I can't remember the exact year. I think it was 1993 with Jordan and all the legendary greats. And they had 30 seconds of a highlight from that. And then they switched to the 2023 All-Star game where they were taking turns making half-court shots, like in the middle of the game, and nobody's even playing defense because that, to me, like that looked very much like the football all-pro game. Right? You're not blocking, you're not doing anything. Like, same thing on that side of it. I think it's horrible, man. Like you're watering down your product by doing that. If you're not guarded, a point doesn't mean crap. Like, everybody's seen highlights of Seth Curry sitting there, throwing up threes, like just warming up. You don't need to see that on the court. Like, you want to see a game. You want to see defense. You want to see action. You want to see contested dunks. Like, they're watering down the product. I hate it. I think watch that 1993 NBA All-Star game highlight, and that's what it should be. The best of the best, playing their hearts out, going after it.
Well, the funny thing is when you had the guys like Jordan, first off, those guys didn't like each other way back when. I mean, they were enemies, which made it fun. But dude, you can't ever get Jordan. I mean, if Jordan was playing in the All-Star game today, he would sit out. He wouldn't even want to play in it. I mean, this guy, he gave 100%
competitors
every game. It didn't matter, All-Star game or not. It didn't matter. So it was pretty silly. So I think we're pretty much in agreement that the baseball All-Star game is by far the best one, and the other three, they just need to fix whatever the hell they're doing. It just I mean, I can appreciate you trying new things, but it seems like it's just getting more gimmicky and just silly. Just stick to what works, what people want to see. In baseball, I think I think has it down. The one thing that I wanted to talk about that was, did you see the guy that won the slam dunk contest, Mac
Oh
McClure?
yeah.
The guy was unbelievable, right? But this is the interesting thing, right? His career earnings was $106,000. He made $100,000 for winning the slam dunk competition. But here's the thing that I don't understand. Maybe you can explain this to me, okay? He's had 2 career games in the NBA, and that was in 21-22. He's played no time in the NBA this year, okay? He's basically a G League player, okay? Why is he in the NBA slam dunk contest?
Because he's the best
I
slam
mean,
dunk
I mean, literally,
artist.
is that the only
I mean,
reason? Because he's so good?
yeah,
Because he's in
exactly.
the
I mean,
G
they
League,
knew
for
like
God's sakes.
he won and he won going away, and it wasn't close. I
No,
mean,
no, he
I'm
was
sure you
he was
saw the dunks.
phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
Unbelievable dunks, like dunks that you've never seen before. And you think you've seen them all. He did dunks you've never seen before. What's crazy, you and I both went to University of Delaware. He plays for the Delaware Bluecoats, like basically 10 minutes from where I live right now.
No kidding.
In Wilmington. He's in the Sixers G League, and they signed him to that contract just to bring him up to dunk. Yeah, I mean, he's incredible. I don't know. I got mixed feelings, man. I think they put the dunk contest back in the spotlight with him. So from a business perspective, if I'm an NBA executive, I loved it, right?
Yeah.
Like it brought, the guy that can dunk the best into the dunk contest.
Yeah.
Gave him a payday, like, rewarded him for it, but it does beg the question, like, is he really an NBA player? Is he really? I mean, he's not. He's a G leaguer that does phenomenal, amazing dunks. So then should you just bring all these dunk artists that don't play basketball at all in for the dunk contest instead and let the pros just play the game? Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you have a dunk exhibition where you bring the best dunkers in the world to come in and do that, and then have the pros play their game. I don't know.
Who the heck even knows?
It's, if you're talking about entertainment, I would rather see Mac McClure and tons of guys like him dunking and doing crazy stuff, and then watch the pros play the game, than to watch the pros like half-ass it, and do some dunks, and they look pretty good but not amazing.
Listen, I mean, the fact of the matter is, I mean, he put on a show, and I have no problem with him putting on a show, but it's the NBA dunk contest, and he's not in the NBA, I mean,
well, legally he was. 2-week contract.
I mean, come on,
76er.
So basically,
he's technically in the minor leagues, right? He's in the minors of the NBA. So it's not like he's completely unaffiliated.
Right.
He is the 76ers minor league, the Delaware Bluecoats.
We want to see a guy that, that I don't know. But I thought
I liked it. I get what you're saying, but I liked it. I thought it's for entertainment, right? You want to be entertained during the dunk contest, and there was entertainment.
I think it's interesting. One more thing I want to talk about with basketball. There's a guy, Anthony Edwards. He plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was the #1 draft pick a few years ago. He had a quote the other day, and he was they asked him, hey, what is something that you would change about the NBA? And he says, all these guys sitting and resting, just play, man. These people might have enough money to come to one game, and that might be the game they come to, and you're sitting out. So what he's saying is, people pay a lot of money. He's realizing people pay a lot of money to come to these games. It's very, very expensive. And, they want to come, they want to see their favorite player play, and that guy is sitting out. I'll give you a great example of that. One year, Trisha got me tickets for my birthday to see the Wizards play. And it was when Jordan was on the Wizards. And he sat out that game. So, I totally understand what he's saying, but do you agree with what he's saying? I mean, I know guys need rest, but it seems like some of these guys rest all the time.
Yeah, it just depends on the player's status. Like if they have an injury that they're nursing and they risk getting it, re-injured or, hurt worse or something like that, then I think you got to sit. But I agree. I think there's players that sit just to sit. And you are being paid millions and millions of dollars to play a game, and the fans don't always get to go to every single game. Everyone's not a season ticket holder, and they want to see the stars. I mean, that's why you pay the stars big money. So the stars should be out there playing. I get rest days, and sometimes you need that. I mean, even in baseball, right? Pitchers take 5 days to rest in between their starts, but they're also throwing, 60 to 90 pitches, 100 miles an hour, so it's a different strain on the body.
Completely different, yeah.
So, I mean, basketball, you obviously have, potential tendon issues with all the pivoting and things like that, but it's more of a cardio sport.
Yeah.
So, it's not a extreme effort sport. You're not blocking a 300-pound lineman, those types of things. So, I think, but at the same time, I also don't think there will ever be a Cal Ripken of basketball, right? There's never going to be a guy that can play every game. No. Baseball, there's way more rest in baseball than activity. So you can easily play every single game.
You could, yeah. You're exactly
right. But yeah, I think I'm leaning more toward on his side. Get out there and play. I mean, that's what you're there for. And if you're nicked up and it's severe enough, then yeah, sit out. But if you got a little bit of a thing, like just get out there and play. I mean, fans need to see you play. So
I thought it was interesting insight coming from an NBA player. I like when those guys kind of because guys like that. I mean, listen, these guys you've got your multimillionaires and you've got your ridiculous multimillionaires. I mean, that's the way that it is. I mean, you've got an average player that makes $20 million a season. So, and I'm assuming that Anthony Edwards, he's probably still in his rookie contract. So he's probably only making like a paltry 8 or 9 million right now. But I mean, these guys, it's like monopoly money to these guys. It's nice that he's looking at it from a fan perspective. I love that. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I want to talk a little NFL because there's a couple things I want to get your opinion on because some things that I noticed recently, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm trying to figure out which way I want to go on my thoughts on this. Maybe you can help me out. But starting with Daniel Jones, okay, we know he's the quarterback of the Giants. We know that he led them to the playoffs, which was a huge surprise team. And we know that he's really never been a great quarterback. He definitely had his best year by far, right? So he played pretty well this season. So they're negotiating right now, and he wants like $45 million, which would make him one of the highest paid guys in the NFL. Is he worth it? And if you don't, then what do you do at the quarterback position? Because he's not getting anywhere near 45 million somewhere else. And I think the Giants should stand firm, but I wanted to see your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to pay him that much. They have so many other needs that they have to fill. Like if maybe quarterback's the last piece they need and you believe in Daniel Jones, I mean, there's no way he should be the top paid quarterback. I mean, no way. He's a great quarterback. He's solid. But he's not with the top. He's not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a, whoever you like, Josh Allen. Like he's nowhere close to those guys. And so, this is the typical. So my guess is like he has nothing to do with this, right? His agent is the one going in. Yeah. Any good negotiation, you go in high, right? And that's your position, and you negotiate down from there. I can only assume that's what he's doing. I don't think the Giants pay him. They have too many other needs that they have, and with salary cap and things like that, I think they let him go, and I think they look to draft, somebody, in the draft and just kind of rebuild. I think the head coach is really why they got into the playoffs. I don't.
Oh yeah. I mean, the tough thing is, how important the quarterback position is. That's why why these guys make so much money. So the question is, if you're a playoff team, do you want to set yourself back by going with a rookie quarterback? See, my thought would be there's still quarterbacks out there. I'm thinking, what about a guy like Ryan Tannehill? He's not going to cost you a ton of money, and you can't say that he's worse than Daniel Jones. I mean, Daniel Jones does have legs. Okay, I think he was like 4th in the league for quarterbacks as far as rushing. He rushed for like 800 yards.
Unless he's wide open in the field running for like a 90-yard touchdown, then he falls down.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it's a tough decision, but I think we're on the same page with that. You stand firm. You come up with a number that you're going to go with. I can assure you, nobody else out there is paying this guy north of $35 million. I mean, are you kidding me? Even teams that need a quarterback, they're going to look at his record and they're going to say, this guy is just not that good. He's not the reason that the Giants got into the playoffs this year. I mean, they probably could have with anybody else that was serviceable. So that's kind of how I feel. So I'm glad you feel that way about this.
And that's a good point. I'm just looking it up. They don't pick until 25th this year. So,
Yeah.
It's not like they can get one of the top one or two guys like CJ Stroud. I don't know if you would consider him a top guy, but there's a couple of college quarterbacks. It's not a great quarterback draft, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
There's a couple guys that you might be like, okay, yeah, I can see Bryce Young but Stetson, whatever his name is.
No, yeah.
And what is that kid's name? Stetson Bennett, the
Stetson
fifth
Bennett,
or something.
the fourth.
The fourth. Okay, Stetson Bennett. Stetson.
He's
yeah.
He's the guy that, hi, I'm Stetson Bennett. Would you like to join me at my country club?
Yeah, exactly. That was the from Ted Knight from Caddyshack.
Yes.
Join me at the yacht club.
Oh, my
yes,
God.
that's in. Anyway, I don't know if he's even draftable. I mean, I'm sure he's draftable. I'm sorry, he is draftable, but
Yeah,
I don't think he
will
projects well
be,
in the
but
NFL.
I mean, how they don't look for winners. They look for guys that have the intangibles and,
Exactly.
and the tangible. So, this is another really interesting question. And being that I'm a big Jets fan, this kind of hits close to home. The two quarterbacks that they're talked with most are Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Granted, Derek Carr's a free agent, so you don't have to give up anything for him. But is he good? He's a good quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? No. Is he much better than what the Jets have? Yeah, he definitely is. But the other big rumor is Aaron Rodgers, and you're getting a guy who had back-to-back MVPs, and last season he didn't play as well, but you'd have to give up tons of draft capital for him, and you'd also have to pay him a truckload of money. So if you're the Jets, and you've got a pretty solid team right now, and they think that the quarterback is what they need to get to the next level. Which way do you want to lean? Do you want to lean towards the guy that's a Hall of Famer, first ballot, or do you want to go with the guy who's been very, very good his entire career and could do great things in New York?
Yeah, if I'm the Jets, I'd go get Aaron Rodgers tomorrow if he would come to New York. They have all of the pieces to make a run next year. And, I always, like I told you last time, I always make 3 preseason bets on NFL teams. The Jets are definitely going to be one of my bets for because they have longer odds, right? Obviously, I don't think they're going to win. I do think they have the opportunity and potential to win, and the odds make it very, 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 very interesting, such that I want to put some wagers. So I have already laid a wager on the Jets, assuming they get either Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr, because I think either of those players can take them to the Super Bowl. Their defense has always been very solid and is still solid. They've got, Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and, they've got just weapons. I think they can make a run. So, yeah, I would go after Aaron Rodgers, but I'd be fine with Derek Carr too. I mean, I think that guy has played behind a shoddy Raiders offensive line his entire career and made things happen. That's always a high-powered offense with not that many weapons. So he's a bit underrated because of his line never being that great. I don't know how the Jets line is going to be. I don't know if that's a weakness of theirs or not. I haven't looked at it yet, but if they can put a good line together for him, I think Carr can take him there too. So honestly, just thinking out loud about it, I'd be good with either, but Aaron Rodgers, can get you there.
Yeah.
And with the New York market, I mean, they have the market for it, and I think they would really make a deep run there with Aaron, knowing it's just kind of a 1-year thing.
Yeah. No, I like that. Something else that I thought was interesting. We know that Sean Payton took the job in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about Rex Ryan interviewing for the defensive coordinator position? As a Jets fan, we were so excited when he was here as a head coach, and we put up with all his loud, boisterous, just sayings and oh God. But once he started losing, we were like, we're done with you, I mean, you kind of know what you're getting with this guy. Is he the guy that you want to come in as your defensive coordinator?
I think the Broncos are another team, even though they really, really underperformed last year. They are another team I'm putting a wager on for a Super Bowl run because of the longer odds. And I think they can make a run because they have weapons on offense. They have a really good defense. And I think Russell Wilson bounces back. I think that's a fluke year. If you look at his whole body of work, that's a fluke year. He's going to Denver. Maybe the mile high, altitude made him not have as much cardio as he should. I don't know. I don't have an explanation. that's just a fluke. That's an odd thing that you just throw out. And I think with Sean Payton, who I think he's a good quarterback. He obviously won a Super Bowl with the Saints, but
Yeah.
it's something about that dude. Like, he has the most punchable face in the NFL. Like, I just can't stand looking at him. Like, he needs to wear a mask or something. Like, pretend there's COVID, like, right in your face. Put a mask on, dude, because all I want to do is punch you in the face. But I hear him on TV. He seems like a nice guy. So I have these like feelings of like, I hate him, but he's great. And he was involved in that, I don't even know, scandal years ago. I don't even know if it was a real scandal.
Yeah.
He got put in the penalty box a little bit, but all those guys do that stuff. He just happened to get caught.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of like the Broncos as a dark horse. I mean, it's I like them as a dark horse. I think Rex Ryan is a really, really great defensive minded coach, but is he defensive minded for when he coached years ago, before the RPO, before all these creative offenses, the jet sweep and all this other stuff? Yeah. Can he translate that into today's game? I don't know. So, I would have to ask him about his knowledge around modern defenses, but he's a name. If they want to make a splash, he's a name.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other coaches that would be a little bit more current in their knowledge, although maybe he's kept up on the game. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And last thing on the NFL, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, big standoff, right? So supposedly he turned down 5 years, $250 million, which would make him pretty much the highest paid player in football, maybe right behind Aaron Rodgers. 133 million guaranteed. And the reason he said no is because he wants all of that money guaranteed. And he says, well, look at Deshaun Watson. He got all that money guaranteed. Yeah. And a point was made that I was reading about, and that is Baltimore's a good franchise, right? The Browns are a mess. So the Browns are a franchise that needs to do something like that, which nobody else in the league is doing. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
The Ravens don't. And, and the question is, and this is a little different than Daniel Jones' situation, because Lamar Jackson's a much better player than Daniel Jones. But, I mean, where do you think this thing is going to go? And do you think that, I mean, it seems like they're going to franchise him this year, which would give him like a $35 million contract. But, I think that's just going to make him more angry.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting. I do think they franchise him too. And, it's a little bit of a shame because he's been just such an MVP caliber quarterback over the years. He's had injuries, right? His injuries have really hampered him. And, once you start getting those soft tissue injuries, they seem to linger, especially with a guy who, he's a total quarterback, right? He can make the throws, but he's also mostly a running quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And once you have those injuries, your ability to be elusive and, and make those runs definitely drops. So, they're taking a chance, right? I mean, you don't want to give $25 million a year or whatever that math comes out to somebody, $50 million a year or whatever it is, to somebody that's got injuries that aren't maybe necessarily completely resolved. So, I mean, I think he gets the franchise tag, and I think he is pissed off about it. And I think, we'll see how it goes. If I'm Lamar and I'm getting franchise tagged, I'm not running all the time like I was running before. I'm going to slide. I'm going to throw the ball out of bounds. Like, unless they call a planned QB sneak, I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to be a pocket passer, to protect myself from injury and things like that. So I think that's how it's going to play out. If they franchise tag him, he's going to be more of a pocket passer and not run like he did before.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, that's good. Couple quick hits before we end the episode here. I just want you to tell me if yes or no, positive, negative, just really, really quick hits on this. Tiger Woods playing, he outdrives his playing partner, Justin Thomas. And after that, he goes up to him and gives him a tampon. Some people are making a big deal of this. Do you think it's a big deal?
I don't think it's a big deal, but he should know better. That's just dumb. It's just a dumb thing to do. It's just dumb. Like, if you're playing a practice round, like whatever, but you're on national TV, cameras everywhere, you're just an idiot. That's just
I can appreciate that. And Alabama star freshman basketball player Brandon Miller, he brought a gun to a teammate who used it to kill a woman. Okay. He's not suspended. Last night, he actually hit the game-winning shot and scored 41 points. You think this guy's getting a star treatment? And because he brought a gun and gave a gun to his friend who went and used it to kill somebody, do you think he's got some responsibility there?
Yeah. I mean, the game-winning shot or the game-winning shot? Yeah, that's accessory to murder, I guess. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I know like there's some legal things involving guns and transferring guns to another person. There's paperwork involved. Like there's a lot of legal things that you need to do.
Yeah.
Just giving your friend a gun is probably not legal. And so if assuming it's not legal and what he did was illegal, there definitely should be ramifications. I mean, especially if it led to someone's murder.
Like,
I know he didn't murder the person, but why are you giving your friend a gun to begin with?
That's right. Why does your friend need a gun?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it, but I don't know the legality behind it. But
I don't either. But it all hinges on the legality.
Yeah. But it's still, I still think it's odd that he's still playing, though.
Yeah, completely. I mean, minimally, he should be temporarily suspended until they do an investigation or something. But
it's really odd to me. It's really odd to me. And then, last but not least, you remember Dwight Howard?
Oh yeah,
number one draft pick. He was in the league for a long, long time. He might have been in the league for upwards of 20 years, right? He couldn't get a job because he's pretty much washed up, right? So he goes over and he plays in Taiwan. He plays in their top level, right? Their top team for the Taiwan Leopards. Okay. This was his stat line last night: 84 points, 37 rebounds, 9 assists, and 14 blocks. Okay. I want you to convince me that this Taiwan league isn't like a halfway decent high school league. Okay. Is he playing in a high school league? I mean, this is a guy that's washed up from the NBA, goes over there and puts up 84 points and 37. He almost has a quadruple double. He's 1 assist away from a quadruple double, 84 points, 37 rebounds. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean,
I
mean, you can't like washed up. I get it. He's past his prime. Let's put it that way. He was an NBA All-Star. You know, he was a very successful player.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like you, played in the over 40 league, right? I mean, you're not putting up 84, but you know, he's trying to do his equivalent of the over 40 league.
Yeah,
he just happened to pick a league where he could completely and totally dominate. I mean, so I think maybe you should do that. I think you should pick like maybe an over 70 league and just like,
let me tell you something. The way I'm playing, no. Matter of fact, our first game is less than 2 weeks away. And do you know how many times I've played since our last game, which was like almost 3 months ago?
Let me guess. One
time. That's it. One time.
All right. Hey, you're fresh. Look, you've been resting, just like Anthony Edwards said. You've been resting. You've been resting. Your fans haven't seen you.
How many times I've gone to the gym in that period of time? All that I've been doing is Pilates. That's it, and that hasn't gone very far. So
I'm doing a lot of 12-ounce curls. My biceps and my forearms really good.
Yeah, man. At least I go 16 ounces at a time. So.
All right. Look, there's a lot. I mean, I got these taps over here. I got plenty of beer to drink over here.
Yeah, man. The funny thing is, I noticed like the screens, like that tennis player. He's just been standing there for half an hour like that.
Yeah, they paused everything for me right before I got on. I said, "Can you please pause all these TVs? I want to see them."
Even the background, like outside, there's no tree, there's no wind. It's fantastic.
Yeah, all paused. Yeah, it's a very calm day, and it's obviously I'm in Baltimore. Look, there's the Orioles, the Ravens, the Terps.
Yeah,
you know, Lamar Jackson actually was just walking through here earlier, you know, talking to me about his plans, and that's why I came up with that answer. He told me, he's like, dude, if they franchise me, I'm not running. I'm gonna throw the ball away every time. We're gonna punt the crap out of that ball. That's what he said.
I'm not getting hurt for my next team. You know, yeah.
I go, Lamar, can I say that? He's like, yeah, go for it. You know, so I did. Like, all right.
Well, good stuff, my man. I appreciate you filling in today. Always love having you on the show. Man. Money Mark is the man. Stick with that guy. He just knows how to make money. The guy's incredible. So everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Fill in the Mic.
See y'all.